You may have lost everything. You may feel like the world has taken from you more than you ever imagined it could. But let me say this plainly and without apology. That loss, that ruin, that failure, it may be the greatest opportunity of your life. I do not say this lightly. I say it because the ashes of defeat contain the blueprint for triumph. I say it because the man who has nothing left is a man who is free to build something greater than he ever dared to build before. You are not done. You are not defeated. You are being remade. There is a kind of clarity that comes only after devastation, when the illusions fall away, when the comfort is gone, and when there is no applause, only silence and questions. You are finally able to hear the truth. And the truth is this: you are more powerful than your circumstances. You are more than the money you lost, the job they took from you, the business that failed, or the relationship that collapsed. Those were things. You are the source. And what's within you cannot be taken unless you surrender it. But here's the question you must answer. Will you stay on the ground, or will you rise again with the fire that only failure can ignite? I have said it before, and I will say it again with urgency. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure unless you accept it as such. The man who rises after losing everything has power beyond measure, because he has proven that he is not his possessions, not his reputation, not the sum of others' opinions. He is mind. He is will. He is purpose in action. The first step to winning, after you've lost it all, is to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Shift your attention. Stop crying over the ashes and start designing the next structure. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who get up one more time than they fall. Do you understand this? It is not talent, not luck, not timing. It is the iron decision to keep going. You must make a demand upon your own mind. You must refuse to dwell in pity. Pity is poison. It traps the mind in what was, instead of awakening it to what can be. You are not a victim. You are a creator. And your power lies in your ability to think, to believe, to act. That is the divine gift within you. The ability to choose your thoughts and align them with your purpose. You may not be able to control what happened to you, but you are fully responsible for what happens next. This is the moment when many quit. This is when most men turn back, abandon their dreams, and settle for survival instead of victory. But you, if you are hearing me, must be different. You must decide now, with unshakable resolve, that the loss you experienced will not define you. It will refine you. Let it make you sharper. Let it make you hungrier. Let it strip away the excess, the distractions, the fear, and bring you face to face with your core. That core is where power lives. That core is where the fire still burns. You must write a new definition of yourself, not based on what you lost, but based on what you're going to build. Look around. The men and women who have accomplished the greatest feats in history did so not in the absence of hardship, but in response to it. They were mocked. They were rejected. They were bankrupt. They were broken. And they turned every one of those moments into stepping stones. Why? Because they believed they still could. And so they did. What matters now is not the scale of your loss, but the size of your vision. What do you still desire? What is worth fighting for? What dream refuses to die within you, even when the world says it's over? That is your compass. That is your calling. And that is the exact reason why you must not quit. Listen to me carefully. You can build again. You can rise again. You can lead again. And when you do, you will do so with a wisdom you never had before. Loss teaches what success cannot. It humbles the ego and purifies the mind. It clarifies what matters and strengthens what was weak. If you lost everything, good. That means you've been given the opportunity to build it the right way this time. With focus, with discipline, with truth. The road will not be easy, but it will be worth it. Because when you walk the path of the man who refuses to quit, you discover that your will is stronger than any obstacle. And the world does not reward those who never fall. It rewards those who rise with greater power than they had before. Discipline your mind now. Refuse to allow fear to set the boundaries of your potential. You are not your failures. You are not your doubts. You are not your past. You are the man who gets up, the man who reclaims his purpose, the man who takes adversity and turns it into advancement. Let the pain fuel you. Let the silence inspire you. Let the disappointment drive you into a new level of focus that you never knew was possible. Use every part of what you went through as a lesson, as a fire, as a foundation. You must stop talking about the loss and start talking about the vision. You must stop explaining your pain and start designing your future. This is not a season for sympathy. This is a season for strategy. What is your next move? How will you rise? What will you build? Begin where you are, with what you have. And understand this, what you have is enough. The man who has the will to act has more than the man who has everything but no direction. Your circumstances are not your conclusion. Your mindset is. And let me speak plainly. If you want to win, you must be ruthless with your excuses. Eliminate them. Burn them at the altar of discipline. Every time you say, I can't, remind yourself that you are choosing to remain defeated. But the man who says, I will, even when nothing around him looks promising, that man is already on the path to greatness. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You need decision. You need focus. You need consistency. That is how you win. Not overnight, not by luck, but by refusing to stay down. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. And if you choose now to rise, not someday, not when things are perfect, but now, you will begin to move forward with momentum that cannot be stopped. So get up, look at yourself in the mirror, remind yourself who you really are. Not the defeated version, but the resilient, relentless, focused builder of destiny that still lives within you. That man is not gone. He is waiting to be awakened. And when you wake him up, the world will see the return of a man who cannot be broken, only rebuilt. A man who has walked through the fire and come out sharper, wiser, stronger. That man wins. Not because the world gave him anything, but because he took what the world gave and turned it into gold. Now that you have stood back up, now that you have dusted off the residue of defeat and looked your fear in the eye, let me tell you what comes next. When a man chooses not to stay down, he faces a different kind of test, one that doesn't come from the world outside, but from the whispers within. You see, the world will often ignore your rise, mock your efforts, and discount your drive until you begin to show undeniable results. But what you must guard against more than all else is your own doubt. That quiet voice that tries to tell you it's not worth it, that maybe it's too late, that maybe you're too broken to win again. Let me remind you, those are lies. They are illusions constructed by a weakened will and fed by a mind that has not yet been fully reclaimed. You must now take command of your thoughts with the same intensity you'd use to take back a stolen fortune, because that's exactly what your thoughts are. They are your mental wealth, and they determine everything. If you want to rebuild, if you want to win again, and win stronger than ever, you must begin with mental discipline. You must replace every fearful idea with one of power. You must replace every excuse with execution. You must declare war on passivity and indecision. It starts in the morning when the sun rises You rise with it, not because you feel like it, but because it is time to build. You discipline your mind by creating rituals of success. You do not wait for inspiration. You build momentum through action. Inspiration comes to the man who acts. You must choose to become obsessed with your next level. You no longer have the luxury of drifting. That was the old you. The man who drifted lost everything. But the man who awakens, who harnesses the power of definiteness of purpose, he is the man who makes the world move around his vision. No more reaction. Now, you initiate and understand this. When a man moves with clarity, the right people show up. When you operate from the strength of vision and will, the environment begins to change. Resources you thought were gone begin to reappear. Opportunities you never imagined begin to present themselves, not because luck favored you, but because you became the kind of man who attracts them. The man who wins after losing it all does not chase comfort, he pursues growth. You must seek discomfort, because in discomfort lives your evolution. Push beyond what feels familiar. Every time you stretch, every time you lean into the resistance, you grow, and growth is what the world rewards. If you want abundance, then become a man of value. You do not ask for more until you are more. Your job is not to chase money. Your job is to increase your service, your skill, your mindset, your power, because the man who multiplies his value multiplies his reward. You have to understand this universal law. What you plant in your mind, you harvest in your life. Plant doubt and you reap stagnation. Plant faith and you reap results. Plant anger and you will find more reasons to be bitter. But plant purpose and you will find doors opening where there were once only walls. You must not only think differently, you must speak differently. Your language shapes your belief. When you speak defeat, you deepen it. When you speak power, you create it. Begin to speak like the man you are becoming, not the man you were. Declare it. I am rising. I am rebuilding. I am walking into my greatness, because whether you realize it or not, your words carry power. Your self-talk is not just commentary, it is instruction to your subconscious mind. Speak the language of victory, and your mind will begin to construct the internal architecture needed to support it. Be careful who you surround yourself with now. This is a sacred rebuilding phase. Do not waste it by keeping company with small thinkers, doubters, or excuse makers. If their energy does not match your direction, release them. You do not need crowds. You need alignment. When you've lost it all, your relationships will reveal themselves. Some will leave. Let them. Some will doubt you. Let them. Some will stay and believe in your comeback. Honor them. But most importantly, believe in yourself so deeply that their opinions lose their grip on your progress. Let me be clear. Your belief must now become unreasonable. You must believe even when there is no evidence. You must act even when the results are not yet visible. Because it is that type of thinking, defiant, focused, purpose-driven, that turns invisible faith into visible success. You must commit to mastery, not just getting back what you lost, but becoming more than you ever were. Learn relentlessly. Build daily. Stretch consistently. You will not win by accident. You will win by system, by structure, by strategy, and all of that begins in your mind. You must give yourself a command and follow it. Say, I rebuild with power. I will not be stopped. I will not live in the past. I will not cry over what's gone. I will use everything that happened as fuel for the empire I now build. And then act, execute, repeat. There are no shortcuts here, but there is leverage. Every setback gave you data. Every failure gave you feedback. Use it. You are wiser now. Use the lessons. You've seen what doesn't work. Now commit fully to what does, and you must stop waiting. Waiting is a silent killer of progress. Waiting until you feel ready. Waiting until conditions are perfect. That waiting kept you stuck. Now you move. With what you know, with what you have, and that action, no matter how small, gains momentum. Success, when rebuilt after loss, is not just about achievement, it's about transformation. You're not trying to get back to who you were, you're becoming who you were always meant to be. That requires shedding. Shedding ego, shedding blame, shedding hesitation. The only way you lose now is if you stop, if you delay, if you hesitate. And that's not an option anymore. You've already seen the price of inaction. Now you move like a man possessed by vision. Focus is your new standard. Focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Focus eliminates distraction. Focus makes your work sacred. Focus means you say no to anything that does not serve your mission. You don't have time to complain anymore. You don't have the luxury of excuses. Your energy must be directed with laser precision toward rebuilding your life, your wealth, your health, your relationships, your influence, everything aligned with the man you are becoming. You must begin to enjoy the challenge. Love the process. Not because it is easy, but because it proves that you are alive, that you are engaged, that you are in the arena while others are in the stands. This is your edge now, the fact that you are willing to do what others will not. And let me tell you this, every day that you keep going, every hour that you push forward, every task you complete when no one's watching, you are building a story of resilience, a story of redemption. And one day, that story will not only inspire others, it will elevate you to heights you've never touched before. The comeback is always greater than the setback, but only for the man who decides that his past will become the foundation, not the prison of his future. You must now walk with power, think with clarity, speak with authority, and build like you already see the vision complete in your mind. Hold fast to this truth. You did not come this far to stop here. You did not survive the loss to die in defeat. You endured it to be reborn with a higher level of purpose, wisdom, and unshakable power. If you understand that, then you're already halfway there. You've come far. You've already taken the hardest step, deciding not to remain broken. But now comes the final evolution, because rebuilding is only the beginning. The real victory is in dominating your future without being chained to your past. Now is the time to elevate. Not just rebuild what was lost, but build beyond it. To forge a version of yourself so strong, so wise, so prepared that you no longer fear loss, because you know how to rise. And more than that, you know how to command life. To win after losing it all, you must do more than recover. You must reinvent. Reinvention begins by refusing to accept your old limitations. What once held you back must now be irrelevant. You are not a slave to former habits, former beliefs, or former identities. You are new, and the new you must walk in dominion over the man you used to be. You don't owe loyalty to failure. You don't owe apology to those who doubted you. You owe only one thing to your purpose, your future, your vision. And that means acting like a man who already possesses what he's pursuing. You must stop chasing success and begin commanding it. By commanding, I mean becoming a magnet for achievement, a man of intention, of mastery, of focus, a man whose habits are aligned so perfectly with his goals that success becomes inevitable. Let me make this plain. Wealth follows discipline. Power follows clarity. Greatness follows consistent action. Not luck, not wishing, not waiting for things to be easier, but by forging ahead. Especially when you are tired. Especially when no one claps for you. Especially when nothing seems to be working. The man who wins in the end is the man who keeps showing up when others retreat. When most fold under pressure, he leans into it. Why? Because he understands something powerful. Pressure is the birthplace of strength. Diamonds are formed there. So are champions. You want to win? Then take ownership. Full, radical, relentless ownership of your life. No more blaming the past. No more blaming people. No more waiting for perfect conditions. Own your time. Own your energy. Own your focus. Own your destiny. Let me ask you this. What would happen if you truly believed that everything you need is already inside you? That God, the infinite intelligence, did not abandon you when you failed, but rather prepared you through the fire for the next level? That belief must no longer be a concept. It must be your operating system. And yes, you will still encounter resistance. Life does not stop testing you just because you passed the first trial. But now you understand the rules. You do not curse the challenge. You bless it, because every obstacle is an invitation to grow, to refine your power, to prove once again that the man who rises cannot be broken. You now begin to walk with what I call forward faith. That means moving ahead boldly even when you don't see the full path. You trust the process because you trust yourself. And the man who trusts himself is dangerous, not in a destructive sense, but in an unstoppable one. You will know you've grown when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead declare, this is happening for me. The struggle became your instructor. The loss became your launch pad. The pain became your power. That is the alchemy of transformation. And while others seek comfort, you seek clarity. You realize that comfort never made a man great. It only sedates his potential. You don't want sedation. You want activation. You want fire. You want alignment with your highest calling. That's what this is about. From now on, the standard is excellence. Not perfection. Excellence. That means you give your best even when it's inconvenient. You follow through when no one's watching. You finish what you start. You do what you say. You live with integrity, not to impress the world, but to respect the man you've become. And that man must now be the architect of his legacy. What will your story be? Not just a comeback, but the life you built because you refused to settle. Because you chose discipline over comfort. Because you saw yourself not as a victim of your past, but as the author of your future. You must begin to think generationally. Your win is not just for you. It's for the lives you touch, the people you inspire, the future you shape. Your example will speak louder than your words. Let your actions preach the gospel of persistence. And yes, it will require more of you than ever before. It will require you to become uncomfortable with mediocrity, to step out of circles that no longer serve your elevation, to kill off laziness, doubt, and delay like enemies to your dream, because that's exactly what they are. You want to win after losing it all? Then stop negotiating with weakness. Starve your distractions. Feed your focus. Wake up with purpose. Move like your future is watching, because it is. Every decision matters now. Every habit you form, every conversation you entertain, every hour you spend, it's all shaping the next version of you. So choose with intention. Choose with courage. Choose with vision. You have no room left for excuses, and you no longer need them. Because the man who has faced himself, the man who has rebuilt from ruins, is the most powerful man on earth. You do not fear failure anymore. You've danced with it. You've dined with it. And now you've dismissed it. Because failure was not your enemy, it was your educator. And now that you've learned the lessons, you are dangerous. So walk tall, shoulders back, head high. Not with arrogance, but with earned confidence. Because you did not inherit your comeback. You created it. You faced what most avoid. You endured what most fear. And you acted when most froze. That makes you rare. That makes you powerful. That makes you worthy of everything you're now building. But you must continue. The finish line is not a place, it is a mindset. A man committed to growth never truly finishes. He keeps climbing. He keeps building. He keeps expanding because his mission is not to arrive, it is to become. So become. Become the man who walks in purpose. Become the man who speaks life into others. Become the man whose presence demands respect, not because he seeks it, but because he embodies it. You are no longer just surviving, you are leading. You are no longer trying, you are doing. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. Because you've already won where it matters most, inside. Everything else now follows. This is how you win after you've lost it all. This is how you become unbreakable. This is how you leave a mark that outlives you. Now, go. Build it, live it, be it. And now, let us seal this truth into your spirit. You didn't come this far just to recover. You came this far to reignite something greater within you. You see, once you've walked through the valley of despair and came out on the other side with your dignity, your wisdom, and your will intact, you gain access to a level of power that most men will never touch. This power is not given to the lucky, it is earned through fire. It is earned through the days when you didn't want to get up, but you did. Through the nights when sleep escaped you, and yet you still rose. Through the moments you questioned everything but kept walking. That is divine grit. That is sacred courage. And I am here to remind you, that is what greatness is made of. Now you must use it. Use it to speak truth into this world. Use it to uplift the broken. Use it to serve a purpose bigger than your own pride. Your story is no longer just yours. It is a map, a lighthouse, a blueprint for someone else who feels buried right now, someone who doesn't yet know that their mess can become their mission. Let your life prove this. You can lose everything and still gain what matters most. You can be brought to your knees and still rise like a king. You can feel empty and still be a vessel for abundance. But only if you refuse to stay down. Only if you choose to make meaning out of what tried to break you. Only if you decide once and for all that you will not waste your suffering. Because inside every setback is a seed of strength, a seed of character, a seed of wisdom, and if you water that seed daily, with vision, with discipline, with action, it will grow into the life you were born to live. Don't just chase riches, become the man worthy of riches. Don't just crave success, become the man who commands success. Don't just ask for more, become the man who multiplies what he already has. That is the new standard, and it starts now. From this moment forward, everything changes, not because the world shifted, but because you did. You're no longer defined by what you lost. You are now defined by what you refused to give up. You're no longer a man trying to recover. You are a man redeemed by the fire, sharpened, refined, and unstoppable. Remember this always. The most dangerous man in the world is not the one who has never failed. It is the one who has failed, survived, and decided to rise anyway. You are that man, and your time is now. Go write your legacy. Go build the future that fear tried to steal. And when you arrive, wealthy, wise, grounded, unshakable, look back with gratitude. Not for the pain itself, but for the strength it revealed. Now go forward and win on your terms.